My name is Victor Furman. Some call me The Voice. I've always been fascinated with human nature, spirituality, science, and the crossroads at which they meet. Join me now and we will explore these topics and so much more with fascinating guests, authors, and experts who will guide us to Destination Unlimited. This evening on Destination Unlimited, our topic is truly a destination unlimited, our dreams. Dreams have fascinated us, confused us, warmed us, informed us, and sometimes even turned us on. Our guest this week, Sullivan Walden, is on a mission to awaken the world to the power of dreams. Kelly is a dream expert, certified clinical hypnotherapist, inspirational speaker, and founder of Dream Life Coach Training. She's been featured on Dr. Oz, Ricki Lake, The Real, Coast to Coast, and Fox News. She's also the best-selling author of I Had the Strangest Dream, It's All in Your Dreams, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Dreams and Premonitions, and she'll be sharing with us her just-released Love, Sex, and Relationship Dream Dictionary. Please welcome Sullivan Walden. Good evening, Kelly.
Thank you for letting me be with you tonight, Victor, on Destination Unlimited.
Well, as we both truly know, our dreams are Destination Unlimited. And so let's start out with this. How would you describe a dream from the scientific point of view? What's actually happening?
Oh, well, let me first say I'm not a scientist, but I do know a little bit about what happens scientifically when we sleep. So all day long, our limbic brain is kind of asleep and it's kind of in the background. And our prefrontal cortex is our logic, our rational thought, our reasoning, and that's running the show. So that's kind of where our ego is and our sense of self and who we think we are. So by the time we go to sleep at night, our prefrontal cortex is exhausted and it sleeps. It goes to bed when we go to sleep. And what wakes up is that limbic brain. That's our emotions, our feelings, our association cortex also wakes up, and also our visual cortex. So not all of our brain falls asleep when we go to sleep, only part of our brain, the part that needs to sleep. So when we sleep, it's still our brain, it's still our thoughts, it's still who we are, but it's more of an emotional aspect of who we are. And it's the part of us that thinks in symbols and it's vivid and it's wild. And this part of ourselves does the dreaming. Meanwhile, when we wake up in the morning, when we look at our dreams from our prefrontal cortex, from that more analyzing, logical perspective, we say, well, that was just a bunch of rubbish. That was just crazy. That meant nothing. But when we look at our dreams from the perspective of our emotions, our spirit, our associations, our soul, our dreams absolutely are pointing to something. They are absolutely telling us something very valid.
So what we're doing is we're doing the limbic rock.
The freaks come out at night.
There we go. There we go. Now, a lot of us daydream. Are daydreams the same as night dreams, or are they different?
Sure. Well, what's similar is that it's still us. It's our thoughts. It's our brain. It's our process. But in daydreams, what's different than night dreams is that our ego is still somewhat awake. So we can kind of control our daydreams. We can guide them, we can direct them, we can shift them. Whereas our night dreams, unless we are lucid, which is very rare, most people are not lucid in their dreams. Most of us at night, our nighttime dreams have a life of their own and they are not directed by our egos. And I say thank God, because enough of our life, for myself, I'll just say myself, for example, my ego takes up enough bandwidth during the day. I don't need it running the show at night. So I'm quite relieved that it's different than the type of dreams that I have during my more visionary, meditative daydreams.
Now let's talk a little bit about lucid dreaming. You brought up the topic of lucid dreaming. There are people who actually can deliberately lucid dream. Is that correct?
Oh, absolutely. And it's a skill that anybody can learn, just like anybody. We all have intuition. We all are innately psychic, but some of us are more developed in that area, and some of us have more of a natural gift in that area, but we all have these abilities. So lucid dreaming, from my perspective, so I'm not one of those people with a natural gift for lucid dreaming. I get a little annoyed when I hear about people that just don't even try, and then they're lucid dreaming all the time. That's annoying to me because I wish I had that, but I have to try. When I've lucid dreamed, I've had to really put effort to it. And basically it does, for most people that lucid dream really focus on it, and they do make a practice of it, and they do, it's an art form basically. And in order to do that, one way that you can do that, if you want to be lucid in your dreams, and it's quite amazing when it does happen, and maybe you'll share with us if you've ever had a lucid dream or not, Victor. Maybe not, I don't know. But when we have them, they're quite amazing. So if somebody's listening and they wish they had more lucid dreams, one of the ways that you can practice getting into that zone is by meditation. It's something as simple as meditating for anywhere between 10 to 20 minutes a day. It helps to give you more of a sense of control, more of a sense of separation from your thoughts versus who you are, and being able to redirect your thoughts back to something, having a little bit more control over your thoughts so that they're not just so willy-nilly. Another thing you can do is ask yourself throughout the day, through your waking day, am I dreaming? And so right now, we can ask ourselves, am I dreaming? Is this a dream? And just by asking that question, doesn't it just subtly shift the energy a little?
Absolutely. Am I dreaming? You're consciously saying, even if you're in that dream state, is this a dream? And then when you say, yes, I'm in a dream, then there's a number of wonderful things that you can do.
Yes. And even if it doesn't lead to lucid dreaming, just the act of asking ourselves recurringly throughout our waking life, am I dreaming? It reminds us that we are in fact dreaming, because we're always dreaming. We're dreamers by nature. And this is a dream similar to the dream that happens at night, although this is a denser medium, so things don't shift and change quite as quickly as they do in a dream, in a nighttime dream. But we are in a somewhat dreamy state, and we can change the way our dream goes. We can become lucid in this dream that we're having right now, if we desire it. So by asking that question regularly, that plants the seed, and it helps us to remember that we are dreaming, and we're more apt to, while we sleep and dream, to ask ourselves that question inside the dream. And then there's the old look at your hands. So if anyone's listening, unless they're driving their car or operating a motor vehicle of any heavy machinery, take a look at the palms of your hands and just kind of take a visual note, take a visual, like a picture of your hands in your mind, of what these lines look like, what your fingers look like. So at night when you're dreaming, if you think, wow, am I dreaming? Oh, wait, I am dreaming. Try to do the same thing. Try to look at your hands. And if you can have enough lucidity to actually see your hands in your dream, often that's enough for you to realize you're dreaming and that you're lucid in the dream. And that's usually where some really cool lucid dreams can pick up and take off.
And what can we do during lucid dreaming?
Anything. It can start off very simple by just simply, really, just to be clear, people have incredible dreams that they often will call a lucid dream. And the technical definition of a lucid dream is when you know that you're dreaming while you're dreaming. So once that happens, you can begin to explore, you can begin to move your body deliberately, like, let me see what happens if I move to this corner of the room, or let me ask the dreamer. There's a friend of mine, kind of an acquaintance, colleague, Robert Wagner, not the actor, Robert Wagner from Heart to Heart from many moons ago, but Robert Wagner, he's a lucid dreaming expert. He's recorded thousands of his own lucid dreams. And he says that what he used to do as a pattern in his dreams, he would get in the habit of asking the people in his dreams if they had a life outside of the dream, or if they were only there for the purpose of his dream. And Sometimes they would say, oh no, I have a life. I live on so-and-so address, and I am a school teacher, and I have a career. Or they would say, nope, I'm just here for your dream. And then if that was the case, he'd say, well, why? What are you here to teach me? What are you like? Let's just get to it. And then he started to go beyond that, where he started to ignore the people in the dream entirely. And he would just shout out to the universe in his dream and say, what am I supposed to know here? And immediately the dream would change and he would know something would reveal itself. And then once he received that, he would do it again. Now, what am I supposed to know?
And how much of that did he say was intuitive, and how much did he say was actually tapping into some universal messaging service?
He would, the visual dream would change, and it would reveal more information. It would reveal, people would tell him things, a gift would show up, something scary would turn into something smaller. I mean, it was very much dream centric. And then I think as he went, it became more intuitive, until he said at one point, he kept just doing this in rapid fire. Now, what am I supposed to know? Now, what am I supposed to know? Now, what am I supposed to know? Until the dream kept changing so fast until it just turned indigo.
Amazing. That is so amazing what you're describing there. So in essence, this was almost really tapping into that universal source.
Absolutely. And what I think is so beautiful about this story is that we can all do this now. We don't have to wait till we dream. We don't have to wait until we become lucid in a dream. Right now, we can say, like even us right now, Victor, we can shout out to the universe, what am I supposed to know here? And whether you tell me something or I hear something or feel something, just the fact that we're open to that guidance kind of attunes us in some way so that we're more connected to what we're really doing here, so we can get to it, as opposed to being like the people in the movie that never quite, like Romeo and Juliet, they never quite meet each other. They never quite line up. So we can just kind of get to it.
And what we need to know here is that we're talking with Kelly Sullivan Walden, her new book, Love, Sex, and Relationship Dream Dictionary. And we'll be back with more of Kelly and Dreams after these messages.
As difficult as it is to believe, there are places in Africa where human traffickers sell albino children and their body parts for use in magic rituals. Humanity Healing International is actively working in Uganda to change this paradigm. The Albino Rescue Project finds albino children who are at risk and places them in safe schools and environments where they can learn and grow free from fear. To learn more or to sponsor a child, visit humanityhealing.org. Humanity Healing is where your heart is.
Hey, America, we need to have a little talk. We've got more food than we know what to do with in this country, yet 17 million kids in America are struggling with hunger. Makes no sense. Luckily, the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks has volunteers gathering excess food and getting it to hungry kids. They're kind of like food angels. Hey, become a food angel yourself by supporting Feeding America in your local food bank at feedingamerica.org. We can't do it without your help. Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Matt Connerton here. Join Jen Coffey and I twice a week for Matt Connerton Unleashed, a political talk show that's a little different than what you're used to. No liberal or conservative agenda here, just an honest dialogue about truth and how things really work in the world of politics. Matt Connerton Unleashed, every Tuesday and Thursday night at 11 p.m. Eastern on OmTimes Radio.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
And we're back with our guest, Kelly Sullivan Walden, talking about dreams in her new book, The Love, Sex, and Relationship Dream Dictionary, among others. Kelly, let's talk a little bit more about dreams. Do you believe that dreams inform us?
Oh, absolutely. I think they're always informing us. They're, in fact, our higher wisdom comes through in our dreams, I think, because we're more of a captive audience while we're sleeping. We don't have that same filter that we have in our waking life. So I think that we're able to be more receptive to the higher guidance that is really helping us to find the right people and be in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing that gives us the most joy. And our dreams absolutely do this. I was just on the phone with a client, And she was really, really struggling with being between jobs and trying to figure out what she's going to do. And I said, well, have you had any dreams lately? And she gave me this dream, and it was like, oh my God, her dream was just full of exactly what she needed. I mean, and it was like, forget me just talking to her. Let's just talk about your dreams. And it's all there. All the wisdom, all the guidance is right there in your dream. Look no further.
Now, if I'm not mistaken, didn't Einstein get the theory of relativity in a dream?
Yes, he did. He said that as a young boy, probably I think he was 12, he had a dream that he was sledding through the Alps, and he was sledding with his friends, and he began to pick up so much speed that he passed up his friends. He started going faster and faster until he broke the sound barrier, and he went into this realm that was so beautiful and so incredible to him that he never forgot that feeling tone and what he, like the way that his body felt in that zone. And he said that it was that dream and that energetic that he would refer to often when he would be in the reverie of his scientific experiments and working on anything that he was doing. And so on his deathbed, he shared with a friend that it was that dream that he attributes the theory of relativity to, because it was the energy of that dream that led him to that level of consciousness that produced such brilliant thought.
Amazing. And I wonder how many other great inventions and radical changes in human history started in someone's dream.
Oh, so many. Well, in fact, I like to joke and say that we would be naked and in the dark if it weren't for dreams, because the sewing needle was invented by a gentleman named Elias Howe at the turn of the century. And that actually started the Industrial Revolution, because the sewing needle led to the sewing machine, and it led to so many things that opened up factories and mass production. So we didn't have clothes that came from sewing machines before this dream.
We literally wouldn't be wearing a stitch right now.
Exactly. We would be cold, shivering in the dark. He said that his dream, he knew he was getting close on the sewing needle, but he had the hole that the thread would go through coming in through the tip of the needle. And he had a dream about these barbarians, cannibals, that had these poles and sticks. And there was, I think it was him that was in the fire that they were chanting around. and he noticed that on their sticks, there were these holes like the eye of a needle. And there was fabric that connected each of these poles to one another. And they went through an eye of the needle. And he went, oh, Eureka! That's how the hole has to be. And he woke up from that dream.
And he got the point.
And he got the point.
There you go.
bucket of fish.
There you go. There you go. Now, we all have had dreams and know of people who have had dreams that were cautionary dreams. Don't take that trip. Don't go to this place today, or something of that nature. Stay away from this person. Do you believe that dreams warn us?
Oh, for sure. So many of those, we have many of those dream stories in my book that came out before the Love, Sex, Relationship Dream Dictionary. My book, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Dreams and Premonitions. I had the honor of co-authoring that book and bringing in about 40 people that I know that had great dreams. And one of the dreams was submitted from Robert Moss, who you might have heard. He's a great, well-known dream expert. And in his dream, he talks about this, it was actually a very complicated dream, but it led to a very simple moment where he's at an intersection in his dream, but it happens to be right near where he lives in this mountain town in New York and in New York State. And he's going to turn left like he always does, but there's a big truck that's blocking his view. It's like parked on the side of the road and he can't see. So he's going to make a blind left turn, and an 18-wheeler comes out of nowhere and hits his car in the dream. And he wakes up startled. So it's about a week or two after he has this dream, and there he is. He's down at that intersection, and he's about to turn left, but sure enough, there's a truck that's blocking his view, and he can't see, and he's about to make a blind left turn, and he suddenly remembers that dream, and he pauses, and he waits, and sure enough, an 18-wheeler comes barreling right down the road.
Wow.
Would have just smashed him to pieces. And so that the memory of that dream probably saved his life. And there's many stories like that in Dreams and Premonitions and the Chicken Soup for the Soul book that are stunning, that definitely give a warning and that save a person's life. Kathleen O'Keefe Canavas has an amazing series of dreams where she had just had her breasts examined. She had a mammogram and she got a clean bill of health. But she had a dream that night. There was a Franciscan monk who pointed at her breast, not in a lecherous way, but said, "You have cancer." And she woke up from that dream saying, "But I just got, they said that I was clear." So she went back for another mammogram. Sure enough, she was clear. And the doctor said, "What are you coming back for? Go home. You're healthy." And she kept having these dreams. And this monk was pointing in the same spot until finally she demanded exploratory surgery. And they allowed it after much protesting. And sure enough, they found stage 3 cancer that was just getting into her lymph nodes, and they prevented it. It was like it would have killed her.
That's amazing. Any connection with who this monk was?
No connection at all. She was raised Christian. She doesn't have, this is a Franciscan monk. So
Right.
That's still a part of the mystery that hasn't been revealed yet. Who knows, maybe a past life connection, but I think the mystery is still out. Like, who is this person? But she considers this monk one of her guides, and she doesn't really question it. And at some point, maybe she'll know more about who this person is. He's hooded. She doesn't see what he looks like. Maybe it's Robert De Niro from the movie The Mission. I don't know. That's what I picture anyway.
So we have the warnings and the admonitions. What about helping us see or create the future?
Oh, absolutely. Oh, there's, I'm talking more about the Chicken Soup for the Soul book, just because there's great stories in that book about this. But, and this kind of relates to love, sex, and relationship. There's a woman who writes that she was single for a long time, and the last of all of her girlfriends to find somebody. And so she was, kind of the one that everyone's trying to fix up with somebody. And she's annoyed at this. And yet she knows at some point I'd like to meet somebody. And she has a dream that she's happily married. She's in the future, and she's with this wonderful man, and she can describe him to a T. She really sees him, and she's so happy. And she wakes up in the morning, calls one of her best friends, and says, I met him, and I met him in a dream. And she describes what he looked like, and she of course doesn't know who he is in real life, but her best friend says, "I know who this person is." And she says, I just met him. I was traveling. He's a friend of my husband's. And so she ends up getting in touch with him, introduces him to her. And sure enough, they hit it off, and they are quite a couple. And I believe they are married at this point.
Wonderful, wonderful. And of course, we can use our dreams. We believe we can use our dreams to help us manifest things that we choose for ourselves in life.
Sure. I love to share with people, there's at this point, this is kind of where it gets juicy, because this is where I call this where it gets airy gritty. This is where the airy fairy meets the nitty gritty. I stole that from Michael Beckwith, by the way. He came up with that. I can't take all the credit, but I love that. This is where it gets really practical, where your dreams are not just something, they're not just the folly of a person that has lots of time on their hands and eats bonbons all day. This is really practical stuff. And we can, at night before we go to sleep, meditate on the things that we wish our dreams would reveal for us. And if we got really smart about it, we'd boil that down to one specific issue that we need support with, that we need help with. Is it a health issue, a relationship issue, something that has to do with, somebody that we love? It could be anything. And we focus on that, and then we send that off into our dreams, and then we we pay attention to our dreams upon awakening. And I always tell people that if they have a hard time remembering their dreams, they can download my dream declaration meditation on my website to help them to set a very strong intention or declaration for their
And they
dream.
can set up a ringer so that when they wake up and they hear that ringer, they remember that dream, right?
Absolutely, they can. Oh, exactly. I planned it that way.
I know you did. I mean, you're a genius. It has to be that way. And just taking it one step further, programming our dreams. Obviously, we can set intentions and so on. What about programming our dreams?
Yep. So programming a dream is really about focusing on what it is you want to connect with. So imagine, you can get really elaborate with this. If there's, let's say there's a friend of mine who said she's always wanted to go to Paris. And I shared with her about really focusing on Paris. Look at pictures of Paris. Cut out pictures of yourself in a collage where you actually can see what you would look like in Paris, and think about it, feel it, imagine that you're already there. Imagine that you're on the Eiffel Tower. It's sunset. You're looking over at the Champs-Élysées. You feel the air on your face, and imagine what it smells like, tastes like, what you hear, and take that into dreaming with you. But the key is to envision it as if it's happening now. It's not out there in the future. It's happening now. And that is like you're handing the baton to your subconscious mind, to your dreams, to help you complete the story for you and to give you the next steps about how to manifest that and make it real.
Her name is Kelly Sullivan Walden. Her latest book, The Love, Sex, and Relationship Dream Dictionary. Kelly, please tell our listeners how they can find out more about you, your books, and all this wonderful work that you do.
Oh, you're so kind. Thank you, Victor. Victor the voice. My website is kellysullivanwalden.com. And if that's too difficult to spell, you can just go to iHadTheStrangestDream.com. And if you go there, that's where you can download your free dream declaration meditation. It's a gift that I give to people just because I want more people dreaming and remembering their dreams. And they can find me on Facebook at Kelly Sullivan Walden Dr. Dream. And that's spelled out DOCTOR, Dream.
And we'll be back with more of the dreamy Kelly Sullivan Walden after these brief messages.
This is OTR-FM, part of the IOM Radio Network.
Are you in an interfaith relationship and thinking of getting married? For 18 years, Reverend Lori Sue Brockway has been creating personalized, loving, and romantic ceremonies for couples of all faiths and cultural backgrounds. Reverend Lori Sue's sensitivity to the needs of interfaith couples is reflected in the compassionate and inclusive way she addresses the concerns of parents and families. Reverend Lori Sue is also the author of several best-selling books on interfaith weddings and wedding vows. Selected as one of the top interfaith officiants by New York Magazine, Reverend Lori Sue serves couples in the New York metropolitan area and beyond. Find out more at her website, yourinterfaithwedding.com.
Hi, this is Sylvia Henderson, intuitive life coach and energy healer. Are you ready to elevate and rise way above your normal? Be sure to listen to my show, Intuitive Transformations, on OmTimes Radio, Sunday evenings at 9 p.m. Eastern. Get the inspiration you need to transform your life.
And we're back with Destination Unlimited. Our guest tonight, Kelly Sullivan Walden. Kelly's the author of the Love, Sex, and Relationship Dream Dictionary, along with I Had the Strangest Dream, It's All in Your Dreams, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Dreams and Premonitions. And let's talk about sex, Kelly. Let's talk about sex, Kelly. So from a standpoint of dreaming, are there gender-based differences or biases in the way that men and women dream?
Yes, there are. The women tend to have, it's kind of intuitive, women tend to dream more relational, and men can dream a bit more physical when it comes to, there are more violence, there's more fighting in dreams that men have, and men do tend to have more sexual dreams, although women have sexual dreams as well, but they can be more sensual. They're not necessarily people getting it on. They're maybe more kissing, hugging, heavy petting, so to speak. But men do have a lot more reported sexual dreams, and that might be partly because there's not as much shame or stigma around men having sexual dreams. Not that there should be, but men are more free expressing how many sexual dreams they have. So a lot of dreams that men have are kind of conquest oriented. They're chasing something, they're hunting something down. There's more explosions, it's more of like an action adventure movie, whereas more dreams that women have tend to be a little bit more like romantic comedies or more relational oriented.
So male dreams are very primal in nature, and women's dreams are more nurturing, emotional in nature.
Well, we could say that we have maybe as many primal dreams, but on a primal level, the fighting and survival level is more what men do, and women find their survival through relating and through connecting. Like they might not be chasing somebody down with a sledgehammer. They might be chasing them down like, please talk to me, don't run away from me. They might be chasing, so it's a little bit of a different dynamic, but it still might be, coming from that same primal place. Although not all of our dreams are primal. I used to say that we can look at dreams from three different perspectives, that we can interpret dreams as either being from our inner caveman, ego, or angel. So really, I think it's kind of divided. We all, no matter how spiritually enlightened a person is, they will have what I consider a caveman dream. And those are the primal dreams where you're fighting, you're running from something, you're having sex that's not necessarily consensual sex in the dream. Mm-hmm. And the ego dreams are more about looking good, maybe showing up naked in public somewhere, or you're standing on a stage and you're about to speak, but you forgot what you were about to say, or people love you or they're hating you, but it's usually about how your ego is perceived. And then the angel dreams are more about the higher consciousness, who, flying dreams, connecting with avatars, exploring other realms, that kind of thing.
Let's get back to the naked dream for a second, because that's something a lot of people report, of dreams of being in a public situation and being naked or partially nude. What's the reason for that?
I think these dreams are really, really important for many reasons. I think that, so let's just start with one layer, shall we? One layer is, I think our naked dreams are showing us where we are embarrassed about being overly exposed. Like maybe we said something that we feel sensitive about, or we feel like we revealed too much. Maybe in a relationship, I said, I love you before the other person said it back. So that might show up as a naked dream where you're feeling exposed. But I think these dreams show us, they're kind of a litmus test of how we're doing in our progression as humans. Because ultimately, I believe we're meant, if we're going to be completely enlightened, we would be fine being naked. We would be completely fine being completely revealed to one another. But as we work toward getting there, we kind of want to hide and cover up certain things. So our dreams about being naked are showing us basically how we're doing in terms of being overly concealed, or if we're trying to hide something, if we've got some shame that needs to be embraced and healed, so that we can eventually get to the point where we can be naked in a dream or in real life and be fine with that.
So we go to the dream nudist colony at that point, right?
Absolutely. And our bodies all look great in the dream, by the way.
Absolutely perfect. We're absolutely perfect. Now, do both men and women dream about sex with the same frequency?
No. I think, well, actually, that's not exactly true. I have, there's an app that I use called Dreams Cloud, and I highly recommend it. And I was just speaking with the founder of Dreams Cloud. And because they have millions of people reporting their dreams, they're able to do all kinds of up-to-date data about what kind of dreams people are having in local geographic areas or globally. They're able to look at themes and be able to predict different weather patterns and different global events based on these dreams that are being shared. It's pretty incredible. And what they just told me is that their latest finding, and this was as of a week ago, is that globally speaking, the most commonly remembered dream is a sexual dream, meaning, and sexual having kind of a broad umbrella, meaning that anything that has to do with, it could be all the way from kissing, hugging, touching, all the way to wild orgy sex. But it does seem that men have sex that's more graphic more often, if that makes sense.
Absolutely, yeah. And so with the nature of those dreams, you talked about how women may have more romantic or erotic, sensuous dreams, and men more directly physical dreams. Is there any crossover point on those?
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Women can, I mean, I'm just being general about it, but of course there can be, I know lots of women that have very wild and crazy dreams, and there's lots of sexual dreams, and there's lots of men I know that say, no, not so much. That's, you know, they might be so fulfilled in their relationship that they're not necessarily having dreams. Sometimes dreams can be, and this isn't always the case. Carl Jung said that our dreams are often compensatory. So they might be compensating for what's not happening in our lives. And in some ways, we could say that the people in Seattle are dreaming more about sunshine than the people in California. People in California are dreaming more often about rain. So somebody who's getting a lot of sex, having a lot of sex, might not dream about sex. They might dream about having an intellectual conversation with a loved one. Whereas somebody who has more of, maybe they're not as sexually active, they're going to have more sexual dreams. That's one way of looking at it. Now, that is not always the case. But that certainly does, I think we should take that into consideration.
You know, you had mentioned having a dream about an orgy, and I actually once had a dream about an orgy which was followed by a buffet, and there was a sign at the buffet that said first come, first serve, but that's another story for another time. Now,
Victor the voice.
There you go. Now, is there a reason for our sex dreams? Are they part of nature's design?
Well, I believe they are. I mean, none of us would be here if it weren't for sex.
This is true.
Let's just face it. And it is, it's kind of like breathing, our blood flow. It's one of those things that's it's such a big part of life that we often, I'm speaking from a woman's point of view. So, you tell me, maybe I know men think about sex, I think every 20 seconds a sexual thought crosses their mind. And I don't know that that's necessarily the case with women. I'm sorry,
what were you saying? I was having a sexual thought. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I knew that.
There you go.
I can tell by the sound of your silence.
There you go.
Knew where you went.
There you go.
But it is everywhere. It is a part of us. It's a natural part of us. It's a beautiful aspect of our humanity. And I think we're having dreams, not just to compensate for what's not happening in our life, but also to help us perfect the art of being human, and perhaps to perfect the art of our sexuality, and to perfect the art of the way that we relate to one another. So we often work out the kinks, no pun intended, in our dreams. And so we can try things, we can experiment with things, and no one gets hurt. So we can often discover, wait, the grass wasn't greener on the other side. I didn't have to leave my lover or my spouse of many years to go find out the hard way that I'm happy where I'm at. So we can explore so many things and fulfill the part of us that wants to explore and know everything. We can know everything because of our dreams. We can explore virtually everything that's explorable in our dreams.
And speaking of exploration, do we all also dream of romance, or is that strictly with women?
Oh, I think it's both. I think it's definitely both. I mean, it's probably, I would say that women probably have more romantic dreams, but I don't think that's always the case. I think that there's probably just as many men that have them. I don't know that there's exact science on this. This is more of my guess, and also from my experience listening to thousands of dreams from thousands of dreamers. I'd say that more women have romantic dreams, but I know that men absolutely do. I met a man not that long ago that shared in great detail this beautiful kiss that he received from this beautiful woman, and he's never forgotten the sweet way that kiss was. It imprinted him for so long, and it was just a beautiful romantic kiss. And he was very much a sturdy, strong, macho man. So I know that he's not the only one that has had dreams like that.
Our guest is Kelly Sullivan Walden. Her latest book is The Love, Sex, and Relationship Dream Dictionary, your guide to interpreting thousands of common dreams and symbols about your romantic life. Kelly, please tell our listeners where they can get your book and find out more about you.
Absolutely. The Love, Sex, and Relationship Dream Dictionary is available anywhere dreams are sold or books are sold. You can get it on my website on ihavethestrangestdream.com or kellysullivanwalden.com, but you can get it at Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and anywhere basically.
And we always encourage you to go to your local bookstore
Absolutely.
and support your local economy. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And we'll be back with more of Kelly Sullivan Walden and these wonderful dreams.
Hi everyone, this is Shay Parker, the host of Best of the Best, which airs live right here on OmTimes Radio every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern and 5 p.m. Pacific. I'm super excited to bring you expert guest hosts, spiritual discussions, free psychic readings, and so much more. I can promise that you will not want to miss this one-of-a-kind, fun, yet touching, down-to-earth show. Join us every Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Pacific on OTR-FM. This is Shay Parker, and I can't wait to see you there.
Have you ever wondered how to change your love paradigm? The secret key is finding a love partnership, not just a regular connection. How do you find these? Through conscious relationships. Ascending Hearts Dating is a dating site for people like you that believes in second chances and a different type of spiritual connection. Try Ascending Hearts for free today at ascendinghearts.com and change your love paradigm. Ascending Hearts, the premier dating community for the spiritually awake.
And we're back on Destination Unlimited. Our guest this evening, Kelly Sullivan Walden, author of the new book, The Love, Sex, and Relationship Dream Dictionary. So, Kelly, let's talk a little bit more about dreams and relationships. Can a dream help to repair a failing relationship?
Absolutely. Yes, there's many stories that I could tell about this, but basically, and I have got my own story I could tell too. But like I was saying earlier, if you look at your dreams from the perspective that they're here to help you to heal, they're helping to give guidance, then you can ask a question. If you're struggling with your relationship, then pose the question to your dreams to help to reveal some guidance about what to do, about next steps. There's a story in Chicken Soup for the Soul, Dreams and Premonitions, about a woman who is right on the verge of divorce with her husband. I don't think her husband wanted to leave as much as she did, but she's basically left the marriage. But she's sleeping. She's in bed. She's having a dream. She's with her husband. But she has this dream that her husband passed away, and she's at his funeral. And she sees him in the casket, and she suddenly has this awareness that she blew it, that he was a wonderful man, and that they really did have something great going for them, and that she had checked out, that she is filled with remorse, and she's aware that of the life that they could have lived had she not given up so soon. And she is sobbing and tears just broken down. She wakes up from this dream and she rolls over and she sees that her husband is in bed with her, and she shakes him and looks, and of course he's breathing and he's alive, and she's so thrilled that it literally marks the beginning of a whole new renaissance in their marriage. And so this relationship that could have ended didn't, simply because of a dream.
That's wonderful. It's like the old expression, you don't know what you've got until it's gone. And in this case, she didn't have to suffer the loss. She was able to dream the loss and then appreciate what she had.
She didn't have to pave paradise and put up a parking lot.
Here we go. Let's just do Joni Mitchell lyrics for the rest of the show. Let's just do that. Now, we talked about repairing relationship. What about asking or programming a dream to help you resolve a problem?
Absolutely. Well, on the level of relationship, this happened to me. This was a few years ago. My husband and I were going through a really rough moment. And literally I was kind of thinking, all right, maybe this is where we end. And before I went to sleep, I thought I'm going to practice what I preach and set a really strong dream declaration that my dreams are going to help resolve this or give me guidance about next steps. And as I was going to sleep and asking the question, dreams help to reveal a new, like a point of view or next steps. I actually interrupted that and I said, forget that, just fix it. And like a little brat, I just went, see you in the morning, like good night. And I fell asleep. And I had a dream that my husband was a little boy, maybe like 4 or 5 years old, and he was playing with a toy, like a truck or something. And I was looking at him over his shoulder. He couldn't see me. And I was looking and noticing how precious he was. And I was like, oh God, he's so cute. Look at him. And he was just innocent and precious. And then there was this other energy over my shoulder that said, why not just try loving him? And I said back to that voice, yeah, but as an adult, God, he's really annoying. Like he's, he doesn't deserve it all the time, And the voice just persisted. Why not just try loving him? And in that moment, I felt, I was aware of all this love I had for him that I had been holding back because I was feeling like he didn't deserve it in that moment. So because that voice was so insistent, I just went, fine. And I just let the floodgates open. I just let all that love just shower on to this precious little boy. And I woke up in the morning and Dana had this look as if he was a 5-year-old little kid. He was smiling and he looked different. And the energy between us, it's like the spell had been broken. We never even addressed directly what the problem was. And I don't even remember what the problem was, but I just know that it fixed it. So setting a strong intention, and I say sometimes be very polite with your dreams, be nice, be respectful to your dreams, ask them kindly to help you. But in my case, sometimes, you just have to be direct, just fix it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You had your dream epiphany there. That was a beautiful thing. Absolutely beautiful.
Yeah. And I think sometimes the more in pain we are, pain can be a clarifying agent. It can bring us right down to our knees. It can make everything really suddenly put in perspective. This is exactly what I need help with. It's not vague. It's no longer kind of all over the place. It's like very specific. I need help right here. X marks the spot. That's what my dreams need to help me with.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, and I was going to say, but your job is then to remember a dream upon awakening. So your dreams will always reveal an answer to your problem.
And what advice do you give to everyone to be able to remember their dreams? What do you tell them to keep by their bedside always?
I tell them to keep their journal by their bedside, but actually in this day and age, I've started to, I use an app more often than I use my journal, and I use the Dreams Cloud app just because it's a really easy to use app. You just press a button and you let your voice record the dream, and then it transcribes it for you. You give it a title so that later you can go back and find that dream. Whereas if you're just using the voice recording app on the voice memo app on your phone, it'd be hard to listen through hours and hours and hours of dreams to try to find a dream that you had about the elephant wearing the tutu. You could just call it elephant wearing the tutu dream, and then you can easily find it and go back and record it. Because I know that you had a dream recently about an elephant in a tutu.
That's right. It was just too much. But anyway, I've actually used dreaming to resolve problems that I've been working on. If I was working on, for example, something where I had to create something, and there was a piece missing, be it a logical piece or a creative piece, whatever it was, I would program my dream saying, I'm going to go to sleep, and when I wake up in the morning, I'm going to have the answer that I'm looking for. And that's worked for me on a number of occasions.
It's a brilliant thing to do, and I don't doubt it at all that you've used it, because the most brilliant people on the planet do this. Great inventors, great songwriters, great creators, scientists, quantum physicists. This is what they do. And we would all do this if we were wise. We would not take our dreams lying down. We would pay attention to our dreams. We would give them an assignment before we go to sleep. And not that our dreams don't already kind of infer what their assignment is. We don't have to spell it out for our dreams. If we just pay attention to our dreams, we'll realize that they're revealing a missing piece to the puzzle. But it's more helpful. It's actually for ourselves to know what the question is that we're asking, and then we can find the solution. I think it's fun to think about some of the great songs that came through creative people that maybe had a writer's block or something, like Paul McCartney. His song Yesterday came through a dream. Are you familiar with how that?
Yes, I've heard the story. Yeah, absolutely.
Except that the lyrics were a little different.
Scrambled eggs.
Oh, my darling, how I love your legs.
That's right.
So thank God he changed the lyrics. But
yes, he did. Yes, he did. And I remember the old expression. I believe it came from the great Chinese philosopher Confucius, who said that man who goes to bed with sex problem on mind often wakes up with solution in hand, and that way.
That was brilliant.
So now let me ask you this on a more serious note.
Yes.
Can we transmit our dreams from person to person?
Ooh, now we're getting advanced here. And yes, we can. And yes, we do. And the issue more often is, do we realize it, and do we have the lucidity in our waking lives to recognize these patterns? The reason I got into dreaming is actually because of shared dream experiences that I had with my younger sister. We would often show up in similar dreams or dreamscapes and share messages to one another via dreams. And some people do this regularly, and some people have a relationship where they do this regularly as well. It's rare. It's not a common occurrence. But there are. I recently received a question, an email from somebody saying, I'm in love with somebody who doesn't return the feelings. I'm a really powerful dreamer. Is it wrong of me to use my dreams to influence her to love me? And I thought, oh boy, we've got Houston, we've got a problem.
Oh yeah.
Because our dreams are powerful, and all the great shamans were dreamers, and people that have used, people that were sorcerers, and people can use the power of dreams to help make their lives better. And I think we just need to be careful about how we use our dreams. We have to look at the big picture and the ripple effect. And I always say, when we want something really badly and we want to influence someone else's dream, to consider the "thy will be done" perspective, and to say, not my will, but thy will, because sometimes our will can be short-sighted, and we might get what we want. Like this gentleman, I cautioned him to imagine that this woman, instead of her being an object outside of himself, imagine that she was a part of himself, that she was a part of his own dream, his feminine aspect, and that he was in relationship with her already, because she's already an aspect of himself. She's his anima, so to speak, as Carl Jung would say. And to fall in love with his own inner feminine and watch how much more magnetic he becomes to love, whether it ever be from her or somebody better suited for him than her. So we can use our dreams to influence others and to connect with others. I always just caution, make sure you explore what your motives are and make sure they're aligned with a really high aspect of yourself.
Never take away anyone else's free will.
Yeah, because it kind of comes back at you.
Absolutely. What a wonderful evening we spent with Kelly Sullivan Walden. Kelly, please tell our listeners about your books and you, where they can find out more about you and the work that you do.
Oh, thank you, Victor the Voice. You are so wonderful. I so appreciate being with you, being connected with you virtually and in the dream and on all levels. My books are available on my website. My brand new book, The Love, Sex, and Relationship Dream Dictionary, is available on my website, which is kellysullivanwalden.com, or IHadTheStrangestDream.com. Or you can get it on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, or of course your local booksellers. My other books, Chicken Soup for the Soul, Dreams and Premonitions, or the first book that put me on the map with regards to dreams is I Had the Strangest Dream. And my follow-up dream books were Dreaming Heaven, and then It's All in Your Dreams. And those books are wonderful. They all kind of deal with different aspects of different facets of the dream diamond. I highly recommend them all. I love them all. I've poured my blood, sweat, tears, and love and so many years of dreaming into those books. And if people are interested in Dream Life Coach training, they can get a free 15-minute inquiry session if they go to dreamlifecoachtraining.com, and they can find out about how they can use dreams as an aspect, as a modality that they can incorporate into their life coaching business or their business as a intuitive, or however they work with others. And, Facebook. They can find me on Facebook at Kelly Sullivan Walden Dr. Dream, and Twitter is Kelly S. Walden.
Kelly,
I have a new workshop that's coming up. It's called Dream Goddess. So it's for mostly for women, but I'm not excluding men. If men really want to come, they can join. And they can go to kellysullivanwalden.com/Dream Goddess to find out more about that.
And you are a dream goddess. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. This has been just absolutely spectacular. And there's so much that you have to share. We're going to have you on again.
I would always come back. Victor the Voice, you are so magnificent. Thank you for being unlimited in your bounty and your love and in your wonderful voice and all the greatness that conveys. I so appreciate you. Thank you.
Oh, my. And on that note, I'm going to say this is Destination Unlimited. I'm Victor Furman. Thanks for joining us, everyone. See you next week.